Hi and welcome to SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. WWE Hell in a Cell is this Sunday evening and arguably has to be one of the most unorganised pay-per-views of all time. As of recording, still only 4 matches have been announced for the show. I was originally going to put the video up on Tuesday, but I left it a couple of days to see if more matches would be announced. They clearly haven't been. So for a bit of fun, I'm going to do the 4 matches we've got so far. I'm going to predict the other matches at the end of the video just to spice things up a little bit. But what I will do is I will do another video because I'm imagining that the additional matches will probably be given after SmackDown this week. So I will do a second part video with the final matches added and give a small prediction for those video matches as and when they do come out. But anyway, I'll give you the 4 matches that we've got today, and 3 of them are Hell in a Cell matches, so at least they are the main matches you've got anyway. We will start with Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, which will be inside Hell in a Cell in an I Quit match. Now, for me, I've really enjoyed the build-up. This has to be the best storyline in WWE, especially on the SmackDown side, but potentially the best feud of the entire calendar year, which you would say when you look and say, well, it's Jey Uso that's going for it. Clearly, he probably will not win the championship. I still think Roman Reigns will retain here. I feel it's very one-sided in that side of things, but for the story itself, I really enjoyed it. The way that we're getting, week by week, a new layer of this tribal chief coming out in Roman Reigns, more of a heel factor that we've got from him. The fact that he does things on his time, the fact that he really deep down loves his Uso cousins, but is just trying to put food on the table, showing them, can you do what I do? When he destroyed Braun Strowman and showing him that this is what I do, this is now what's going to be you. Can you be that guy? Because I love you, and I'm showing you what I'm going to do. You've got to prove that you could be this sort of guy if you want to be in that area. Jey Uso, of course, didn't do it with Braun Strowman, but he did attack Roman Reigns, which I thought was a fantastic twist at the end of that SmackDown. It really, just for that small moment, really sort of made you say, I want to see these two mix it up. It is going to be hell, though, for Jey inside that cell. I cannot see it going any other way. And this is perfect, because after the last pay-per-view, Jey Uso wouldn't reference Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, the head of the family. To have to scream the words, I quit inside Hell in a Cell, really does solidify Roman Reigns as getting what he wants. He is the guy who is being told he is the tribal chief. So for me, I think it's been really well done, this. And I think this will be the close of the feud. I still think that Jey and Jimmy Uso will be a part of a Roman Reigns stable, but I don't think it's going to be yet. I think we're looking another maybe 2, 3, 4 months down the line before we get to where Roman may just need that extra backup, perhaps going into WrestleMania, maybe at that stage. But at this particular moment, I still think it stays for how it is. Roman Reigns will stand tall. He's going to have his advocate Paul Heyman in his corner, and Roman Reigns is walking out still Universal Champion. Let's talk next then about a match that's not in the cell. Elias, who has returned, who attacked Jeff Hardy. Of course, for continuity purposes, WWE, you've tried. Of course, Jeff Hardy was initially accused of running over Elias, which of course put him out for 5 months. It was later sort of proven that the person that was meant to have done it was meant to have red hair. Ironically, Sheamus has also been moved to Monday Night Raw as of late, because all 3 were on SmackDown. But of course, Elias did return and attack Jeff Hardy in a triple threat match. And of course, he did his Elias concert. Did lack the heel heat in the songs he was doing, but it was a nice way to break up that show. Elias, for me, is good as a heel. He does better as a heel. I think he's going to get more time to shine on Raw. I think we're going to start to get that Elias we got a couple of years ago when he was on Raw. He was, flirting towards that outside bracket of the main event. He was being talked about with matches with John Cena and The Undertaker. I think we could get back to where Elias could get back to that level. And I hope to see that we're going to start building that here at the pay-per-view. Now, for me, Elias, I want to see him walk away as the victor. I don't think Jeff Hardy needs the victory. It's good to put the younger talent over. But I could see this one going either way, because Elias could lose the match and then learn that it's not Jeff Hardy and perhaps go after Sheamus afterwards, or could be someone else. We'll have to wait and see how that will play out. WWE could take things in any direction at this point, as we've seen with other storylines going throughout the company. But to make my prediction, I'm going to go for Elias. Why not? I think Elias has come back. He could do the momentum. I think that so far, I'm loving the fact he's come back as a heel, and I think he just can offer a lot to the company. So for me, I want to see Elias get that mega push. So I'm going to predict Elias to pick up the victory. Next, let's go for the Hell in a Cell match, which I think should main event the show. Just my prediction, or just my feeling, really, at this point. Bayley against Sasha Banks, arguably a year-long feud, now is going to be resulted with the SmackDown Women's Championship inside Hell in a Cell. I'm really pleased to see that the ladies are going to get this opportunity to really steal the show. Sasha Banks has previous experience in Hell in a Cell last year against Becky Lynch. Of course, she was in the first women's one against Charlotte Flair back in 2016 as well. She's been on the losing end though both times. Is that an omen going into Hell in a Cell? We'll have to wait and see. The thing is for me is that I look at this match between these two. It's been built so well as best friends, the summer of them having all the gold, and now obviously Bayley, when she did that finally did that heel turn and turn on Sasha Banks, you just didn't really see it coming, and it was time. We knew it was all going to come at some point, but we just didn't see when, because it'd been dragged out so long, so many weeks, that when it actually happened, it made an impact, and it was a really well-received segment when they did that. And I think that with these two ladies, the only negative part of this whole thing was they have had a match, which was a false finish match on SmackDown, which lasted like 2 minutes on the draft week. I know that was to try and bring some more viewers to the draft, but at the same time, I wish they hadn't have fought until this point. But we're inside Hell in a Cell, and I do feel that when you look at this with these two, where does it go from here? Because arguably, I feel this is the first match, and usually WWE likes to do more matches. How do you raise the stakes higher than Hell in a Cell? It's hard to do so. So for that reason, I'm going to go and predict of what I think will be obviously the overall winner from the feud. I think that Sasha Banks is going to walk away your SmackDown Women's Champion. Bayley's been champion for over a year. It probably wouldn't do a bad service right now for them to have that. And then if they're going to do a rematch where Bayley chases for the championship, so it almost adds a new element to the storyline rather than Sasha chasing to become champion. So for that reason, I will go Sasha Banks to become your new SmackDown Women's Champion. I guess the feud will not be finished for at least another month or two, but with great up-and-comers like Bianca Belair now on that SmackDown roster, I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing what she's going to bring to the table, and matches would be Bianca Belair against Sasha Banks against Bayley should be really exciting to see. So we need to sort of not get this finished, Banks and Bayley, but we need to get it where it's on the road and going somewhere. So for that reason, I think that the title switch is necessary here. It's the right time. It's been long enough. Bayley has done all she needs to as SmackDown Women's Champion to prove her legacy. How great she's been as a heel as well. Let's not forget that during this second run as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And I think that a pat on the back for both ladies involved here. Round of applause, whatever you want. These two have absolutely nailed it. And I think that they should main event this show. But for me, Sasha Banks is going to be your winner at Hell in a Cell. Last but not least, let's have another Hell in a Cell match then. Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton. I mean, these two, this is the third time on pay-per-view. This needs to be the finish for me. This needs to close off. We shouldn't have anything more after this. My feeling with this is that I've actually gone for Randy Orton every step of the way. Randy has the experience factor. I think he said there's been 7, 8 Hell in a Cell matches previously with the likes of The Undertaker, Triple H, John Cena twice, I believe. So he's been against some of the biggest superstars inside Hell in a Cell, most recently against Jeff Hardy a couple of years ago with that violent, with the ear with Jeff Hardy as well. That was awful to see. So, I mean, Randy Orton will make this grotesque, gruesome, and violent, and I like that element. Drew McIntyre, of course, he is the rising star of 2020 with Monday Night Raw. The show has been built around Drew McIntyre, and now, of course, you have to look at the WWE draft. There are new, arguably, toys to play with if you are Vince McMahon in creative. You've got the likes of AJ Styles, a heel. You've got the Fiend Bray Wyatt, who's arguably a tweener, but let's be fair, we want to see Drew against the Fiend at some point. And of course, I mean, you look as well with weekly matches with the likes of Sheamus in there as well. Braun Strowman has come in. I mean, there's so many potential matches that Drew McIntyre has as champion. Randy has those as well, but heel versus heel doesn't work as well unless, like we say, the Fiend is turning face. Of course, with his saga of retribution, arguably you could say that the Fiend perhaps maybe is more of the babyface of them in this area. But WWE doesn't always do faces and heels anymore, but still it does sway my decision. I would have gone for Randy Orton because I would be annoyed. I've predicted Randy Orton every step of the way of this feud, but if he was to win it here and I've gone for Drew, that probably would be a bit annoying. But at the same time, I look at it and I feel Drew McIntyre's new opponents to play with now, and I do feel that perhaps AJ Styles would be a great one to do early on, maybe Braun Strowman, maybe we could build towards the Fiend as we get towards WrestleMania season. I think that certainly will be a match that would gather a lot of interest, from a lot of, the hardcore demographic fans, and I think outside fans as well, because The Fiend is a great attraction. Drew McIntyre has been built as that next big star. And of course, he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania last year to solidify that position. So I'm going to go for Drew McIntyre to pick up the victory. As for other matches, I'm very confident Street Profits will be defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So much that I'm going to give a prediction, because that's how confident I am. I do believe that the Street Profits will retain should that match be announced. Elsewhere, throughout, I could see potentially Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, or Dominic and Murphy, a combination of these guys being thrown in for another match together. This feud needs to finish, and this Sunday would be a great place to do it, because it does need a conclusive finish. I know a lot of people are tired of this rivalry, but if you're going to do it, you should at least have a conclusive end. So, pay-per-view this Sunday, let's just get a match on the card, do it, finish it, we can all move on. Ray and Dominic can go to the tag team division. Seth Rollins maybe can have a singles feud with Murphy for the meantime, and perhaps then, when the time comes where, Seth Rollins is going to have a little bit of time off to, be a daddy at the start with Becky Lynch, he can be written off TV in a good way, and then he can come back, perhaps say, who knows, Royal Rumble season, somewhere around there would be a great surprise entrant in the match. I think that would be some great directions you could go with this, but as for the feud they have all together, this needs to end now. So for me, I hope rather than being dragged out for another 4, 6, 8 weeks, just get it on the pay-per-view and get it done. That would be my personal opinion of what I would like to see. And for the Raw side, we could get Keith Lee against Braun Strowman again. Of course, that really was a bit of a mess this week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that being added to the card at the last minute. I certainly think that there would be fuel for fire to make this as a rematch for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Interesting as well, Asuka doesn't have a match currently at the pay-per-view. Will they throw something together to put on the kickoff show for Asuka? Feels like the Raw Women's Championship at the moment isn't being taken with the same credibility as it was from SummerSlam afterwards. Of course, the Zelina Vega match was originally going to be on the kickoff, but was moved the last minute to the main show. It'll be interesting to see if they do put Asuka against someone, but of course there's lots of new faces to go against Asuka. I can't imagine they'll do a Lana rematch. Maybe someone like Peyton Royce, maybe someone of the likes of Lacey Evans could step in at the last minute if they've seen some impressive performances from them. Maybe Nikki Cross as well. Remember, she was chasing in and around that championship picture on SmackDown, of course, going in as she moved over to Raw. And of course, Alexa Bliss is someone everyone wants to see. That's the money match, I think, right now, Asuka and Alexa Bliss. But I personally can see that being saved for a later date. I'm shocked the Hurt Business against Retribution was not put on this pay-per-view and was put on Raw instead. It shows the direction of what creative is thinking here. Maybe there's a rematch in place. Maybe it's Lashley against Ali for the United States Championship. They could announce that last minute. Certainly is a potential that something they could do there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen overall here. But that's my feelings of potential matches that could be added in last minute to Hell in a Cell here, because I'm sure we'll get another 3 or 4 more matches added on, at least one of them being on the kickoff. But for the matches that we do know are announced, 3 Hell in a Cell matches, we're going to need some other matches to fill out in the middle of the card, otherwise it's going to feel a bit samey. But I do think that the 4 matches we've got are fun and exciting, and I am looking forward to them. But let me know your thoughts anyway in the comments below. Hell in a Cell, like I say, this Sunday. I look forward to interacting with you with your predictions. What do you think? Who do you think will be the winners on the show? Yeah, let me know, and please share with a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way. Please like, share, subscribe, and when you subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for future videos coming up as well. Impact Wrestling, if you like it, Bound for Glory, those predictions are up for you now. This week in wrestling, I'm aiming to do something for that. Perhaps a key moments of the week for this week in wrestling will be put out on Saturday this week. I can't help myself, particularly after Raw this week. There's so much happened on that show that I really want to discuss, so I will be doing that on This Week in Wrestling. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. It should be a lot of fun, and probably we'll touch on some moments from SmackDown as well. As I say, I will do an extra video as well with the additional matches that will be added to this card as and when they are announced. I'm aiming to do that around Saturday time, because if they're not announced today or tomorrow, I imagine on SmackDown we'll probably get a clearer idea of what matches will be added, and I am expecting more than not more SmackDown matches to be added rather than Raw at this stage. But that's all from me anyway. I'm going to stop talking now and let you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time here on SCW. Take care, have yourselves a great day.